Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today we have a special guest. This is Zach. Zach, if you want to give a brief intro on yourself, and we'll kind of take it right from there.
Yeah, definitely. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate you having me on first.
Of course, brother.
Yeah, my name's Zach Cummings. I'm based out of Long Island, New York. College basketball player. I'm the host of the Journey podcast. Also, I own a College Ready Training, which is a basketball training company. So that's pretty much what I've been doing over the past couple of years, just trying to build a platform and a few different avenues, and still chasing the basketball dream. And then started the podcast about 2.5 years ago called The Journey.
That's awesome. So yeah, I want to pick up right there. So that's I came across you on TikTok. I know, and you've had a couple of videos really blow up. And it's funny because I came across you, we had a conversation, and the next day my little sister sent me the video of you talking about Kobe, because that video blew up. Wow. So it was just so fun. I was like, there's no way. I was like, he's coming on the podcast soon. But you want to kind of just touch on that, the podcast as a whole, how that started, and the mission?
I want to say, it was about 2.5 years ago, right before COVID. I was at Howard Junior College in Big Spring, Texas. I was in my sophomore year of JUCO, and I had a rough year with injuries. I broke my wrist on the third day. I had a bone contusion in my left knee, and then the day after Christmas, the day we got back, I got a microfracture in my right knee, and I was out for the season. So up until that point, like, basketball has been my entire life, and it was everything I wanted to do, and I was so close to like reaching that Division One, or just being a 4-year scholarship athlete, whatever. And I was in bed, and I was in the middle of nowhere, and I don't like to call it, like, I don't like to say I was depressed, because I didn't go to a doctor. I wasn't diagnosed with depression, but I was very low. Like, I was at probably like one of the lowest points in my life. And I came across a clip from Mike, who was an artist, formerly known as Mike Stud. And he had an episode with Modson. And I was never into podcasting before that. And that clip, he was talking about the peaks and valleys, and sometimes you think you're at, your mountaintop at your peak, and you got to get knocked down and find another avenue. And then you're looking back down at where you once were, what you thought was your peak, but you had to go through all these things. And that clip just stuck with me. And I was like, you know what, like, I want to do this. Like, I want to start a podcast, because I didn't know where my basketball career was going to end up at that point. I had no scholarships. I was hurt. I was going to be out for about a year. COVID was happening. So it was like, for a lot of athletics, everything was shut down. So I was like, I need to find a new passion, a new, something to have almost like a fallback plan if basketball doesn't work out. So I started, writing down a bunch of names, making logos, reaching out to people, making lists of guests to have on. And that summer, August 31st, I had my first episode. I had my first guest on, which was my boy Femi Olajobi. He's a professional basketball player. He's in Taiwan right now, I believe. Taiwan or Thailand? Yeah, Taiwan. That was like the start of it, August 2020.
That's awesome. And like I said, I see your clips all over. And so I'm sure you saw my face light up right there when you mentioned Mike. So it's so funny, because I'm a big Mike guy myself. I'm a Steve. But it's funny because literally as you started to talk and I saw the journey, it just sounded like something along the Mike lines, and I was gonna bring him up to you, and then it just clicked as well that you were wearing one of the Stevenson Ranch hats the other day. So that's why my face lit up. But that's so funny, and it's cool too. I don't know when you kind of started becoming a fan, but I feel like a lot of the fans, I'm sure, feel the same way. But so he had that phase where it was like girls and partying, and like I feel like I kind of lived that too. And now he's coming from like a spiritual aspect, and I feel like I'm hitting that as well. So it's so funny, just the growth that you could see through someone, obviously on this public display, and then within yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was a fan of his in like 8th and 9th grade.
Yeah,
I was listening to College Humor and
Batter Up.
back again and all that.
Yeah.
In this life, and I was like a huge fan of him. And then I kind of fell off for a while, and literally that podcast with Modson got me back on it. Right. And it's crazy. Like, this is called the Keep Going podcast. I have the logo, the Keep Going logo tattooed on my arm with the highs, the lows, the in-betweens. I have that. And then I have YNK on like the back of my elbow too.
That's awesome.
Because it was just like, you know, he was like one of the main reasons that, you know, I got through a lot of the shit I was going through.
Right.
And we actually, me and my boy Jake, I saw you followed him on Instagram, my co-host that I have on the podcast a lot. Me and him filmed his concert in New York too.
So cool.
Yeah, so we got to meet him. We got to meet him backstage, talk to him a little bit. I had Kilmer on my podcast back probably about a little over a year ago on episode 14. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, we have like a bunch of run-ins with them, and yeah, it's definitely dope. Yeah, he's been a big inspiration.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, and just obviously like people in that realm and in that mental space, like you could tell, and we all kind of like click, and it's crazy because I've been saying it forever. I don't know if you know who Nick Bear is, but he has the Go One More tattoo right on his wrist. He's like a big hybrid athlete. He's one of these, looks like a bodybuilder running marathons. Guy's out of his mind.
Yeah.
But I've been saying to everybody that I want to keep going in that font on that placement right here. And it's just funny how everything's connected. It really is. But yeah, and even specifically like him, I mean, I just checked today actually, like how, you know, they tell you the hours of music you listen to and stuff like that. It's not even like I try and listen to other people, man. It's just hard. It's hard.
Yeah. But, The Highs was like a great album.
It was so good. Yeah. And that's
no skips.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But it's funny, and it's more than music. Like the lyrics really do hit, and I'm sure you feel the same way, where like you feel connected to it. And it's especially seeing from the progression in his life, the progression in my own life, it tells a story.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah. And then just to stay on the topic of podcasts. So obviously you had Kilmer on, and I think it's funny because, you know, when you first start these things, like I'm very early stages here. I think I've only been doing it for like maybe 6 months, not even. But you know, it seems so small, but just the people you get connected with and have conversation with, like it grows rapidly, maybe not on the scale of, you know, followers and listeners, but just as far as your circle and your network and your reach, like you're always one person away from Mike. You met Mike, you know what I mean? Like, and think about who he's one person away from. Like, it really is crazy, the realm of how small things get when you open up your reach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I love, you know, the podcast and the platform itself. It just, you know, like you said, like it creates doors that wouldn't have been opened if you didn't do that, you know, and it just gives you a platform. It gives people a platform. You know, that's what I've noticed. Like people love talking about themselves. So like not many people, you know, deny podcasts. You know, obviously if you get into the upper echelon of celebrities, sure, obviously it's a little harder to get reach, you know, but for the most part, you know, people with following, people that you can DM and they will respond. Like a lot of people love to talk about themselves, share their stories. Maybe they haven't had the platform to share their story, and you could be the first one to have it. So yeah, no, I definitely enjoy it, bro. The podcast is fun. Like I want to, like I said in that last clip, like no matter where I go, basketball, coaching, content, Miami, like I can always bring the mic and the camera and this with me, and you know, we can do podcasting, you know, forever.
Absolutely. And yeah, and that clip is definitely something I want to touch on. So you were kind of saying, I mean, obviously you could go into it, but it was something along the lines of like being like one tweak away from like you feel the wave coming of, you know, your form of success, and just being that one tweak away. If you kind of want to go into depth on that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got inspiration from that by Ed Milet, where I was just watching him. He was talking about a lot of people don't associate themselves as the thing that they dream of. Like they think they can't do it, so then they start to create a belief system in their own mind that like, hey, like that's not reachable, like I can't do that. But then when you start to tell yourself like, yo, like I've actually been doing this for a little while, like I've put in the work, I've put in the time, I'm really like like it could be one situation that really changes my life. When you start to change your mind and have that mindset, you start to notice the things around you, like, oh, like, wow, if I get this guest and he introduces me to this guy, or, you know, if I play in front of this scout, you know, he could talk to this coach and I could get a contract, you know what I'm saying? So like in my life, that's what I've started to realize, where I'm like, yo, as I have not reached where I want to be, I'm pretty damn close. And like, like I said, like I'm a few decisions, a few people, a few guests away from like one of these doors, like really, you know, flying wide open, where I can like, you know, take that next step and honestly see some legit success, like on a way bigger scale.
Right. No, absolutely. I'm right there with you, man. And I feel it too. And I feel like when you're on that wave and you feel that alignment and you're kind of clicking, like you could just tell, and you're moving different. Like it's the reality of it. But yeah, and then so obviously, so you're still playing ball, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm at Old Westbury right now, which is a Division III school in Long Island.
Okay, cool. And did everything heal up as far as injuries?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I played last year. I was like one of my first years, like no injuries. I played the whole year. I was top 5 in the country in 5 offensive categories. You know, I was top 3 in a bunch in just in the conference alone, and I had a really good year individually. And I'm coming back from my senior year. This is my 5th college. I've transferred all over the place with junior colleges and Alabama, Louisiana, Texas. I was in the Virgin Islands for a little while. So after COVID, I was like, you know what? I'm just ready to come home, just have fun, play, not be so worried about getting recruited and trying to get a scholarship and fight for playing time. Like I knew like this was going to be a good situation for me and just to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. And I don't regret it. Like it was the best decision I've ever made. Like I wish I could tell my 19-year-old self that like Division I, like it's cool, but it's not everything. Like at the end of the day, like you just want to play. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to have fun. You want to go out there and show what you could do. So Old Westbury has given me, that stage to do that. And I had a really successful season last year, and I plan on, taking it up a notch this year as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And it's true. It's like it's funny because like as we grow and mature, it's like you kind of look back and it's easy to reflect and be like, yeah, I wanted that so bad then, and now that just would not serve me at all. And I feel like that relates to so many things in my life personally as well. And okay, so that's awesome. And do you feel like, so personally for me, I do a lot of physical stuff, like run marathons, do a bodybuilding show. I feel like that's kind of where my confidence stems from, my physical ability. Do you feel like your confidence kind of shines through basketball?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super cool to just to be able to be talented at basketball, and and it wasn't like it wasn't like God given ability. Like I worked my ass off for this. Like I've been like nonstop since 8th grade, and like this is really, I've dedicated my life to this sport. So to finally like reap the benefits and see all the work, pay off, like it's fun. So, and then especially like, I mean, it is what it is. Like in basketball, like I'm a white dude, like I'm a minority in the sport. So a lot of the times I get, like looked over or like underestimated, and like it helps me a lot because people don't take me serious. And then, a few plays in, they're like, oh shit, like he could hoop, like
Right.
he's like, he could really play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. Like I always love, but I always feel like I have something to prove. No matter every time I step on the floor, like I want to show like what I could do, because where I can, like I grew up playing at the park. Like I didn't grow up like playing big time AAU and big time high schools, and like I wasn't really recruited. It was it was something that like I really had to grind and like put in a lot of time to get to where I'm at and receive scholarships and do all that. So yeah, no, definitely basketball gives me a lot of confidence.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it kind of is like that underdog mentality. I suck at basketball. But it really is like it's true. It's like you got that chip on your shoulder and it kind of helps you use it to your advantage. Yeah, it's a great like tactic and way to go about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then college ready training, if you kind of want to go into that and what that entails.
Yeah, so college ready training, basically this was like a long time coming. I've always trained guys. I've always been like, the friend in the group that like I would put everyone through the workouts, like, yo, just follow my lead, like we're gonna do this, because like I studied it. And I remember I was working with my boy, and he has a power washing company, and I was just trying to, make some extra money. And it was, I want to say it was in like February or March, right when the spring season was starting. And I'm on a roof out in the Hamptons, like looking out in the water, like freezing, fucking covered in bleach, miserable, for $180 for the day. And I'm like, what am I doing right now? Like,
Right.
I hate this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I have so like I can offer so much in basketball. It's like, how am I not, monetizing off of that? Like, how am I not making money doing something with basketball?
Right.
So like that day I was like, yo, I'm starting a training business, like, because I do it, but like now I need to like make it legit. So that day I hit up my boy, and we got to it. We made the logo. I ordered the business cards. I coach AAU, so went to practice. All the parents were there. Just started handing out all the business cards, like, because then now they're familiar with me because they see the way I coach, they see the way I approach the game and how knowledgeable I am about it. So that's pretty much like how it happened. It happened like very fast, and then started getting clients like that. And now I've, close to, I don't know, was it November? About to be November. Yeah, about to be like 8 months in, 7 months in. So that's pretty much like how it all started. And now I'm just going to continue that. I just keep building clientele. And that's really what I've been doing like full time pretty much for work. Like other than like doing the podcast and basketball, like this has been my job. And like, it's been the most enjoyable job I've ever had.
Right. Yeah. It's sometimes when you hit that alignment, things just click. Like it really is. It's funny how it works. So the whole premise is kind of just getting these kids ready for the college level.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cause like a lot of my clients are high school guys, younger guys, but I'll train college guys. I'll train professional. I've trained, professional women's players. So I'll train anyone, but yeah, like the whole premise is like trying to prepare guys for college because I did it all on my own. Like I didn't have a trainer growing up. Like I found the ways, like I know what works. Like I could watch you play one time and I can see what we need to work on, what your strengths and weaknesses are. So that's what and like a lot of it is the mentorship. It's not even the basketball. It's preparing you mentally for college. A lot of these kids have no idea how much of a business college athletics is and how serious it is. And a coach isn't going to play you because he likes you. Like a coach is going to play you because you're going to produce and you're going to help get wins, and wins lead to him getting, re-signed as a coach, and then he makes more money and provides for his family. It's like way deeper than just like, oh, I recruited you, I like you, like I think you're good. It's like, nah, like if you're not mentally, physically, emotionally, academically, everything ready for that moment, like you'll get shipped out super quick. And like they don't care because it at the end of the day, it's a business and they're trying to keep their job. So that's what I try to instill in a lot of these kids.
Yeah, no, it's true. And like you said, honestly, like without your experience and how you went through everything, it kind of gave you the skill set to now teach in the way you do. That's awesome.
Yeah. 100%.
Just assuming here, you play point guard?
Yeah.
Leaner mentality. Like I knew right away. I'm a big fan of sports, so I was able to put that together. But you could just tell. You could tell you like it's the leadership in you, and I'm sure that's why the business is growing at the pace it is, and you're having success in it that you are. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, what would you say your biggest lesson from basketball has been? Obviously, you mentioned that you were kind of plagued with injuries for a little bit there. What has been your personal like biggest lesson or hurdle and that you've overcome and kind of learned from?
It's really just been like the perseverance and just the just discipline and consistency and just like that will to not give up and like keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like literally just keep going through everything because so many people, like once they hear like my full story, they'd be like how'd you keep going? Like why are you still doing this? And it's like, because like I made like a vow to myself and like my mom, when she passed away when I was 12, I was like, yo, like I'm going to do this basketball thing. Like, and it's like, I don't like to like half foot in, half foot out. Like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it and I'm going to finish. So that's really what basketball taught me is just like, I got thrown everything, coaches leaving, losing scholarships, injuries, getting over recruited, having to fight for playing time. Like I did it all. And it's like basketball teaches you so many life lessons that translate to the business world, to relationships, to pretty much everything in life. And, sometimes in the moment in basketball, you don't see it, but like once you've been removed from the game for a little bit, or you gotta have some time to look back and like harp on like what you went through, you're like, oh, like that's like that prepared me for this.
Yeah.
So basketball has just been a preparation for life in general, not just like way beyond athletics.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's so relatable in so many different sports and physical kind of challenges, really, where it's the adversity that you face throughout the journey that creates you into the person that you're kind of destined to be. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously and just honestly, man, I'm thinking like I wish I was a younger dude playing basketball because you could get me run through a wall right now. Like I feel I really not for real. I feel the like almost underdog mentality, but it's like just you're not going to quit. Like it doesn't matter what's thrown your way. It's awesome. The drive for sure there. What would you say? So you mentioned before, like, so obviously the one tweak away from like success. What would you say your personal success is? Because I feel like we could all define it in different ways. Like obviously some people lean heavy on like financial, some people lean heavy on, just kind of living like a fulfilled life or joyful life through relationships and whatnot. What kind of defines success to you and what are you looking for that next step?
Yeah. So, I mean, success for me, obviously, I mean, we all like, as much as people could say like money doesn't matter, like money matters, like not, maybe not on a, where you have to get, cars and clothes and houses and flashy jewelry, maybe that, because like that stuff really doesn't matter to me.
Right.
But money creates freedom. So like obviously once you get to a certain level of success, you start to make a certain amount of money, you have more freedom to do the things you like to do. So that's like one thing, right? Two is almost like, it's just like inspiring others, helping others. When I like to be that person for people where like if they need help recruiting, if they need help with basketball training, if they need help setting up their podcast, if they, if I can help in any way, I like to be that outlet for people. So to me, like that's how, like, I mean, I would want to be remembered, like where like everyone would be like, like this guy would always help us. You know what I'm saying? Like he would, whatever we needed, like he would try to go out of his way to help me be successful. Because I always just feel like if you could give, like eventually something is going to come back to you, and it may not be from that person, and it may be from someone you've never met, but that's just the law of karma, the way the universe works. Like you do good, like good will come back to you. So that's pretty much just how I try to approach everything, where it's just like that's to me, that's being successful. It's like, yeah, you may maybe not show it financially or show it, on social media, but if the people that you have, been in contact with, if you've touched them, if you have been a positive influence and help them on their journey, like you're successful, like in that aspect. So like that's kind of like how I look at it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, like leaving people better than you found them. And I definitely
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah, it's funny too, because obviously, yes, to an extent, we all need financial freedom or just finances in general. Again, not for the materialistic things, but I think also like someone like you specifically, where it's like, if you were to win the lottery, I feel like a lot of it would be driven towards your business, which in turn is going to help younger kids. And it's really just it's the giving, but again, it all comes full circle. And yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I'm definitely aligned with that.
Yeah, it's like it's just the idea of, people question like, is there such things as like a selfless act? Because like selfishly, you're always kind of doing something for others to come back to yourself. But it's like, I mean, I agree. Like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you have to put yourself in a position where like, yeah, you might be doing for others, but ultimately, like you said, like it's going to help you. So like, yeah, if you do make serious amount of money and you invest back into your business, then your business is going to flourish and it's going to help more people. So it's just that, like, balance between like, are you being selfish or are you being selfless? And I don't think they're, if you're living in that space, I don't think you can really choose between the two, because each one is going to kind of like bounce off of each other. And at
Yeah,
the end of the day, like if you're helping people, like you're helping people, whether it's for you or not, like you're
right.
still, leaving a positive impact on people's lives.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And what's one piece of advice you would give to someone graduating high school, going into like the college basketball world, or just college in general?
Um, Going into college, I'd say like understand what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what where your passion is. Then that can kind of help you dictate, like, I guess, what major you want to study. But I mean, I'm not like it's hard because like I'm hypocritical of college, because like I'm in it, and like for me to talk shit about it is kind of hypocritical. But it's like, if I wasn't playing basketball, I don't think I would have done college. Like, has college helped me? Not really. Have I learned so much? No. And it's just more of something that I feel like hasn't evolved over time, where like everything else has like had a crazy evolution, and the school system has stayed the same. Like I couldn't tell you one thing I learned. I'm a 4.0 student. Like I was a all American academic team, and I'm not like, it's just the level of obedience. So it's like, unless you're going to college for a specific major, like I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, a scientist, whatever. If you're kind of up in the air, I think like maybe just take a general studies and then just try to figure out what you like. And then for a college athlete, do your research like on the school, do your research on the coach, reach out to the players, see what kind of system it is, like find out everything. Because like a lot of the times, like when you're being recruited, you kind of stroke your ego to the point where like you don't want to know anything bad about the school because like you got a scholarship, so you just want to see all the good in it.
Right.
And I did that a lot, like where like I would be like, oh, like no, it's got this, and then like the questions I had in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm not even gonna ask because I don't want to hear the negative things because like I want this to work. And then you get there and it's like, oh well, like the food sucks, like the living situation isn't good, they don't feed you on the weekends, the gym is closed during these hours. So it's like that's one thing, like do all your research. Like if you're being recruited, like do all your research before going to the school, find out the coach, like I said, like talk to former players and just really try to see if like that's the right situation for you.
No, I definitely know what you mean. And the school stuff, I'm completely aligned with. I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm going to go into my third career now, and I didn't need school for any of it. And I think what you gain if you go to a campus and you live on campus is the ability to network and interact with people, and the ability to learn how to speak and conversate and kind of hold relationships, really, rather than exactly like, I mean, I couldn't tell you I was not a 4.0 student. I can't tell you a single thing I learned in any of the classes. Definitely agree. Yeah, it's crazy. And then what would you say is your biggest fear?
I just know, like everything like that I've done, like I've done it on my own. Like, yes, I've had people support me and around me, but like I've always found a way to figure it out. So I just feel like in life, like I'm always going to find a way to figure it out. Like I know how to talk to people. I know how to network. I know how to open doors that probably wouldn't be open like for every other person. So I don't know if I have a fear in like failure of like life. I mean, I have like I have a fear of planes. Like I don't like flying. Yeah. Like that's one of my biggest fears, which is like pretty, rough being, a college athlete and want to play professionally or want to travel the world and do all these things because you got to fly a lot. So that is one fear. And then honestly, like another fear is cancer. If you want to be like brutally honest, like, yeah, like cancer, like I watched my mom go through it, and like cancer is like, I had firsthand, experience of watching someone battle lung cancer and then lose their life. And like, that was fucking scary. That was terrifying to watch, especially as like a 12-year-old. So I'd say like, those are literally the two biggest things that like bring me like actual fear, like in life.
Yeah, no, we lost my aunt to cancer when I was young as well. And it really is, it's scary. And you kind of watch, like we watched her like kind of break down, and it sucks. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I think that's like where the fear really stems from. It's completely out of your control.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's tough. And then the other thing I want to touch on, I'm in the same boat. Like everybody, I feel like I've always kind of had like, for lack of a better term, like a lucky life. Like everything kind of goes my way. And I just have that insane belief that like, why won't it? You know what I mean? Like that's just how I live. I know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean with that, where it's like, I kind of just have like this blind faith, and I'm not even like a religious dude, but it's just, things are going to work out. They always do. And like, if it doesn't work out exactly how I wanted, it worked out the other way for a certain reason. Yeah.
I agree 100%. Yeah. A lot of the times, like what you plan, like they say, like you make plans and God laughs. It's just like, you always, the way you imagine things, the way you think things are going to play out, they usually never happen the way you thought they were. But in, looking back in hindsight, it's like, oh, like, well, this did happen for that reason, like I'm in this situation because of X, Y, and Z. So it's like, yeah, like you said, that's just that like blind faith of just belief, and just like, it's really just belief in yourself. Cause like, what you're made of, and like, what you bring to the table. So it's like, that's why I just feel like no matter what I'm in, like, I know, like I'm gonna figure it out one way or another.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And lastly, our last question is, what keeps you going?
What keeps me going? What keeps me going, honestly, first off was my mom. So that was just one thing. Like I have a whole sleeve like dedicated towards her. Literally, I when she passed, like I made a promise as like a 12, 13-year-old, like I'm gonna chase this basketball dream for you. So that's one thing that I can always have some motivation and just always think like, yeah, she's always watching me. Like I got to do this for her. I got to make her proud because, it sucks. Like she never got to watch me play college basketball. She never got to see an episode on the Journey podcast. So those are just things like I always keep in the back of my mind. And then, like I said earlier, it's just like the perseverance of like getting through it and finishing what I started. And and trying to be the best in whatever I can do. So I just want to be consistent in anything I do, and you know, really just see how far I can take it. If you know, if it finally comes to like a dead stop where like I can't do it anymore, I'll pick something else up and like I'll start from scratch there. So that's really just like I just want to live life to the fullest and like just make the most out of it, because we're only here for like a short time when you think about it. So it's like I'm not gonna sit there and waste time and feel bad for myself when shit doesn't work out. I'm just gonna do it. So that's really all it is, where it's just like I want to be the best in anything I do, and I just want to just keep going. Like I literally live by that method. Like, you know, keep going.
Yeah.
Where you got to keep going through the highs, the lows, the in betweens, no matter what. And you kind of just have to have a little bit of luck, a little bit of faith, a little bit of belief, confidence, you name it. Like you put all those things together, that to me, that's just like a recipe for success.
I agree, man. And it's cool too, like because when you have that why, it's just you could get, like you said, you could get through anything. It's the perseverance, and you could tell even just from the way you carry yourself and the attitude, it's just like you got that dog in you that like you're just not gonna quit. It's cool to see, man. It's inspiring.
I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of that stemmed from JUCO too. Like just being in junior college. Like I don't know if you're familiar with the show Last Chance U.
I was as you've been saying JUCO, that's what keeps popping in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, like people like Last Chance U, like they don't even show all of it. Like people think that shit was bad. Like there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes
I'm
at junior
sure.
college, and that built me. You know what I'm saying? Like we really like you really go through it there, and like it really builds character, and literally like only the strong will survive. Like a lot of people never play another college game again after JUCO,
Right.
because it takes a toll on you mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. So I mean, I recommend JUCO for a lot of guys that like, yo, like that shit's gonna make you tough. Like if you weren't raised that way, like that shit is gonna make you tough.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And honestly, man, I think just all of our adversities and our struggles, like losing your mom and just like you said, going through JUCO, it's like that shaped you and that formed you into who you are, and that built resiliency. And it's raining through, and I'm honestly I'm excited to see where everything takes you, man.
No, I appreciate you, man. For real. Seriously.
Of course,
I like
bro.
what you're doing too. Seriously. Like
Yeah,
this is dope.
trying, man. Yeah. But just want to say, appreciate your time and thank you.